Vol 1ch 56. Knock, knock, knock. Coming. Leon went to answer the door. Outside were Mewan and Noya. Mom, Dad, did you sleep in Mom's room last night? Mewan's face was filled with anticipation and gossip. Leon smiled awkwardly and scratched his head. Yeah, we stayed up late studying poetry, songs, and the mysteries of the universe with your mom, so I ended up sleeping here. Can Mewan join next time when Mom and Dad sleep together? Of course, yes. Yes, long live Dad. Mewan was about to pounce on Leon, but he made a hushing gesture. SHH, Mom is sick and still sleeping, don't wake her up. Mewan's smile froze. Sick, how did that happen? Leon opened the door, you'll see when you go inside. The two kids glanced at each other and quickly stepped into the room. At a glance, Mom was indeed lying stiff on the bed. Mewan called out, Mom, and immediately ran over. She stood by the bedside, gently poking Rosvitha's wrist, but got no response. How did Mom get sick? Noya turned to look at Leon. Leon stood at the bedroom door, hands in his pockets, calmly explaining, we were chatting on the balcony last night, fell asleep unknowingly, and caught a cold from the cold wind blowing all night. Pausing, Leon added, perhaps it's a bit more serious than just a cold. He knew Noya was intelligent and precocious. However, no matter how bright and mature she was still just a little dragon girl barely over a year old. In the realm of knowledge she had touched upon, there was little to do with illness. Leon had counted on this fact to calmly fabricate lies. But don't worry, Dad will take good care of Mom, Leon said. Mewan held Rosvitha's slightly cool hand and sniffled, her tone filled with worry. Mom, why are you so careless? You have to get better soon. When you do, Mewan won't make you angry again. The atmosphere in the room became somber for a moment. Coincidentally, at this moment, the maid Anna knocked on the door. Since Leon hadn't closed the door earlier, Anna stood at the entrance, holding some nutritional supplements. Your Highness, I brought the nutritional supplements you asked for, Anna said. Oh goods, thank you, just leave them by the bed, Leon replied. Yes, Your Highness. Anna walked into the bedroom with the supplements. Seeing Mewan and Noya, she respectfully greeted them. Good morning, Your Highnesses. Anna, my mom is sick, Noya said. As Anna arranged the supplements, she said, when I came to see His Majesty this morning, His Highness had already informed me. I've conducted a thorough examination, and while Her Majesty is indeed very weak right now, all her indicators are normal. As long as she rests for a few days, there shouldn't be any problem. Your Highnesses need not worry too much. After arranging the supplements, Anna turned around, smiling. I'll temporarily handle the internal affairs of the clan these days. If Your Highnesses and His Highness are interested, you can also come and take a look and oversee my work. Well, thanked you for your hard work, Anna. Where, as long as I can alleviate Her Majesty's worries, there's no hardship to speak of. If there's nothing else, I'll go busy myself, Your Highness. All right. After nodding in acknowledgement to Leon and the two little dragon girls, Anna hurriedly left. Leon extended his arm. See, even Anna said Mom is fine, you should feel relieved now. With that, Leon squatted down and wiped away the tears from Mewan's eyes. There in a few days, you'll see Mom lively and energetic again. Mewan, no more crying. Mewan nodded vigorously. Yeah, Mewan won't cry. Good girl, stay here and accompany Mom more, but don't get too close. Colds are contagious, you know. Okay, Mewan understands. With that, Mewan walked to the bedside, keeping a certain distance, gazing at her mom who was unconscious on the bed. She was truly the kind of obedient and well-behaved, yet innocent little girl. She couldn't hide her emotions, but that made her easier to handle. At this moment, Mewan's tuft of hair on her head and her tail behind her were drooping, lacking their usual vitality. Although Rosvitha was usually strict with them, she was still their mom after all. How could children act as if nothing had happened when their mom was sick? Leon sighed in relief, and his peripheral vision inadvertently caught sight of Mewan's drooping tail behind her. He blinked, feeling like something was amiss. What could it be? Suddenly, he remembered. When he was tidying up the bed just now, he didn't seem to see Rosvitha's tail. Leon opened his mouth, wanting to ask what was going on. But as the words reached his lips, he swallowed them back, because neither Anna just now nor Mewan and Noya currently showed any surprise or curiosity about Rosvitha's tail being missing. That meant this matter was quite ordinary for the dragon race. There was no need to especially inquire about it. If he did ask, it would definitely arouse his eldest daughter's suspicions. Thinking this, Leon looked at Noya. Sure enough, the icy little dragon girl was scrutinizing him expressionlessly. Leon scratched his temple. What's wrong? Noya averted her gaze. Nothing. Why did he just stare at Mewin's tail, and then look slightly surprised at Mom's waist? Noya's mind stirred, pondering silently. The two sisters stayed with Rosvitha all morning. When it was lunchtime, they were led away by the maid. However, Noya stopped in the corridor after taking a few steps, turning back to look at Leon without saying a word. Leaning against the doorway, Leon asked, "Why are you looking at me again?" Noya squinted slightly, whispering, "Mom is still unconscious. Do you have any plans?" At first listen, this sounded somewhat inexplicable, but Leon dared not treat it lightly. His eldest daughter was very clever and wouldn't ask such questions for no reason. Perhaps she had realized something. "No, I don't have any plans, Noya. I just want to take good care of Mom," Leon replied calmly. There was no panic, nor was there any pretentious assurance. It was just as relaxed and natural as everyday conversation. Noya met his gaze briefly before saying, "Is that so? That's good," in a faint tone. Then she left with Mewin and the maid, without looking back even once. Watching Noya's departing figure, Leon sighed. Indeed, she's too clever, my dear daughter. Just like me. Although there was some self-praise in his words, Leon and Noya were indeed quite similar in terms of their intelligence. The insight of this father-daughter pair surpassed one another. Leon breathed a sigh of relief, closed the door, and returned to the bedroom. He pulled a chair to the bedside, pondered for a moment, then lifted the blanket and turned Rosvitha over. The hem of her nightgown was empty, and her usually flexible, versatile tail was conspicuously absent. "Indeed, the tail is gone," he muttered. Turning Rosvitha back and tucking her in again, Leon thought, but if the tail was still there, lying flat like this would be very uncomfortable, wouldn't it? He tried to imagine it, realizing that if he had a long protrusion on his tailbone, he would probably only be able to sleep on his side. Leon didn't dwell too much on Rosvitha's missing tail. Instead, he turned his gaze to the nutritional supplements on the bedside table. When Anna came this morning, Leon asked her if she could prepare some nutritional supplements for Rosvitha, just like she did when he was unconscious. Anna said, "Actually, it's unnecessary. The dragon race's physiology allows them to go without eating or drinking during hibernation without any issues, as they store energy during their usual feeding times. However, if your highness is concerned about Her Majesty, I can prepare some nutritional supplements for her." "Not eating or drinking is fine, quite impressive," Leon commented as he reached for a bottle of nutritional supplements. Since Rosvitha didn't need them, he would take care of them himself. He planned to confiscate all these supplements. That way, when Rosvitha woke up, she would be greeted by a dragon slayer full of energy and ready for action. Leon smiled and made a toast gesture towards Rosvitha. "Cheers, my beloved wife." Vol 1ch 57. In order to surprise Rosvitha when she woke up, Leon rejected the maid's proposal to take care of her. He declared that he would stay by Rosvitha's side without a moment's rest for 24 hours. In the eyes of the maids, this gesture was a profound demonstration of the prince's deep love for the queen. The wife fell ill, confined to bed. The husband never left, staying by her side at all times. Oh my goodness, Tilda. Is there a purer love than this? Surely they will grow old together. If Leon knew what the maids were thinking, he would probably make two sarcastic remarks. First, "You're thinking too much. I'd rather jump off a building than grow old with this mother dragon." Second, although there's a slight difference between silver and white, they look similar at first glance. So rounding it up, your queen is already old. Well, back to the point. Although he was waiting for Rosvitha to wake up, during this time, Leon indeed intended to take good care of her. It's not that he cared about this clumsy dragon's health. He just didn't want her to wake up feeling unwell and worry about his precious daughters. So he decided to wash her face and wipe her body. Even though the nursing course wasn't taught at the Dragon Slayer Academy, it should be similar to bathing a donkey, right? Every time Leon returned home during holidays, he would bathe his master's donkey, and he was quite skilled at it. Moreover, he felt that bathing Rosvitha would be much easier than bathing a donkey. A donkey might kick him, but a comatose dragon definitely wouldn't. Leon wasted no time. He dipped a towel in warm water, stood at the head of the bed, bent over, and gently wiped Rosvitha's forehead, nose bridge, cheeks, and chin. Honestly, she looked much prettier when she was asleep than when she was awake. Despite having a stunningly beautiful face, most of the time, she was either tired or melancholic. She rarely smiled and always looked so serious. Only occasionally, when talking about their daughters with Leon, would she show a hint of a content smile. "Ah, you should smile more in the future. You look really beautiful when you smile," Leon murmured as he wiped her hand back and palm. He had said it before, wiping a dragon's body was definitely much easier than wiping a donkey's body. The little dragon was so well behaved. After finishing with her hands, it was time for her body. Leon lifted the blanket, and just as he was about to start, he couldn't help but swallow hard at the sight of her delicate figure lying on the soft bed. I've seen it several times already, there's nothing to be embarrassed about." He took a few deep breaths, reassuring himself in his mind. After mentally preparing himself, he bent over, supporting Rosvitha's back with one hand, and gently removed her nightgown straps with the other. Rosvitha's nightgown was very light and thin, and it could be easily removed with just a tug. Leon blushed, feeling a mixture of desire to look and embarrassment. Damn it. Clearly, they were already an old married couple. Judging from the amount of time they spent together, they might not have reached the level of an old married couple, but in terms of frequency, they were indeed there. Why was he feeling shy about bathing her? Come on, Casmode, be brave. You're not afraid of slaying dragons, so why would you be afraid of bathing one? He bent over again, feeling the warm breath coming out of his nose. Leon swallowed hard again, gripping the towel and slowly reaching towards Rosvitha's chest. Such a perfect contour. Round and full, neither too large to be exaggerated nor too small to be stingy, it was in an absolutely perfect state. As her faint breathing rose and fell, the scene became extremely alluring, arousing desire. Suddenly, the dragon tattoo on Rosvitha's chest shimmered. Terrified, Leon quickly covered Rosvitha with the blanket, then threw the towel away and rushed out of the room. He ran all the way to the backyard of the temple, panting heavily. Oh my god, why did it light up? The glowing dragon tattoo didn't mean Rosvitha had woken up. Leon remembered clearly that when Rosvitha carved the dragon tattoo on him, she said, "If one party longs for the other party's dragon tattoo will react." Leon had used this to his advantage before, teasing Rosvitha when her sister, the Red Dragon Queen Isabella, came to visit. So the fact that Rosvitha's dragon tattoo just shimmered meant. In absolute sobriety, without any drug or charm influence, Leon had thoughts about Rosvitha in that aspect. Shameful. He slapped his own cheeks twice, trying to calm himself down quickly. At the same time, he silently recited the 3 honors and 3 shames of dragon slayers. Honor lies in loyalty to the empire, shame lies in colluding with dragons. Honor lies in shedding blood on the battlefield, shame lies in fleeing from the front lines. Honor lies in slaying dragons and defending the home, shame lies in defection and betrayal. After reciting it 3 times, Leon finally breathed a sigh of relief. Adjusting his mindset, Leon returned to the room. A gentle breeze flowed in through the window, gently swaying the curtains. The silver-haired beauty lay peacefully on the bed, so quiet and beautiful, it was hard to disturb her. Leon approached her with silent steps. Even though he knew she couldn't hear him at the moment, there was a feeling of not wanting to wake her up. Leon reached out and carefully dressed Rosvitha in her nightgown again. Pausing for a moment, feeling uneasy, he pulled up the neckline of the nightgown, covering the dragon tattoo on her chest. He didn't want it to suddenly shimmer again later. That would definitely make Leon doubt whether his dragon-slaying heart was wavering. He picked up the warm towel again, dampening it with some warm water. Hands and feet were fine, but he wouldn't go any further than that. This time he walked to the foot of the bed, lifted the blanket, and gently held Rosvitha's left foot, carefully wiping it. Her feet were actually quite attractive. Stop it, don't let your thoughts wander anymore. Leon shook his head to clear away those scattered thoughts. After everything was wiped clean, Leon sat down to rest. Rustle. The noon breeze gently brushed the curtains of the French windows. Warm sunlight poured in from outside, enveloping them. Looking at the unconscious Rosvitha, Leon clicked his tongue lightly, deciding to do something to pass the time. Propping himself up on his knees, he stood up leisurely and walked to the bedside. "You can't move, right?" he said as he approached Rosvitha's wardrobe. Opening it, he found a variety of gorgeous dresses inside, dazzling to the eyes. Rosvitha usually dressed conservatively, with most of her clothes covering her up tightly, and the shortest skirt only reaching her knees. Leon himself didn't have any particular experience with clothes, but the thought of finally being able to freely manipulate the Dragon Lady made him decide to do something, not wanting to waste this opportunity. Rummaging through the wardrobe, he found an unopened set of black stockings. Leon's cheeks flushed. Black stockings, good, black stockings are justice. Moreover, since these stockings were still sealed, it meant that Rosvitha probably didn't like wearing this kind of stuff usually, but now she had no say in the matter. Leon returned to the bedside, opened the package of black stockings, and then clumsily put them on Rosvitha's legs. Her legs were quite long, so it was a bit of a struggle to put them on. After getting dressed, the slender legs were wrapped in sheer black stockings, appearing mysterious yet alluring. Leon blushed and swallowed nervously. It's such a shame that these legs aren't adorned in black stockings. Leon admired his creation with satisfaction, feeling like something was still missing. Now that we have the black stockings, why not go all the way? Returning to the wardrobe, Leon rummaged through it and found a slightly tight black top. Of course, the design of the top was ordinary, so Leon decided to make some alterations himself. He grabbed a pair of scissors from the drawer and began trimming the shirt without hesitation. When the Dragon Mother woke up, he would blame it on Muin's playful nature for cutting the clothes. After a round of trimming, Leon removed the sleeping gown from Rosvitha's body. Deliberately avoiding her chest, he quickly slipped the modified black top over Rosvitha's figure, with exposed shoulders, a low neckline, a bow tie, and black stockings. A bunny girl. However, it still lacked one thing to be a standard bunny girl: bunny ear accessories. Leon knew he wouldn't find such things in this room, so he decided to take matters into his own hands. Sitting at the bedside, he gathered Rosvitha's hair and tried to fashion a pair of bunny ears. Luckily, Rosvitha had an ample amount of hair. If it were anyone else, especially someone who worked late nights, they wouldn't have had enough hair to work with. Finally, the bunny ears were crafted. With handmade bunny ears by Leon, the transformation into a bunny girl was complete. No man would refuse a life-sized silver dragon doll. If anyone did, it would be because the doll hadn't been dressed up as a black stocking bunny girl yet. So how could such a rare sight in the mortal realm not be captured? This would be the Dragon Mother's dark history. Leon remembered seeing a household camera in Rosvitha's room. Otherwise, why would there be some casual photos of her displayed in the living room or by the bedside? He rummaged through the storage room for a while, and indeed he found it. Excitedly returning to the bedroom, Leon jumped onto the bed and cuddled up to Rosvitha, holding her tightly in his arms. Then, he lifted the camera and activated a little magic for continuous shooting. "Come on, darling, give me a smile. Darling, you're so photogenic. I'll make sure to keep these photos safe." Leon was admiring his handiwork when suddenly, the dragon tattoo on Rosvitha's chest flashed again. Startled, Leon quickly covered her with the blanket, but this time, instead of running out to calm down, he took a few deep breaths and muttered to himself. This must be because I dressed her up as a bunny girl. It has nothing to do with the dragon itself. Yes, I'm interested in bunny girls, not her." After consoling himself, to prevent the dragon tattoo from glowing again, Leon quickly removed the black stockings and bunny ears. Plus, he couldn't let anyone else see this outfit. There was just no way to explain it. However, after tidying up, Leon felt it was a pity to let this foolish dragon off so easily. After much thought, Leon's gaze settled on Rosvitha's silky, straight silver hair. It was typical of her, with a slight fringe adorning her forehead, elegant and charming. However, Leon felt that being good-looking shouldn't be the only label for her hairstyle. Besides bunny ears, there should be some other fun elements. Leon sat by her pillow, taking her strands of hair in his hands, and began to weave them together. Before long, he had crafted a silver butterfly out of her hair. With a satisfied smile, Leon undid the butterfly bow. He weaved it a few times, turning the hair into a pentagram, then a hexagram, followed by a heart shape, and then into a flower basket. Rosvitha's meticulously maintained hair had turned into a playground for him. Perhaps he'd try something like this for his daughters someday, Tilda. Lastly, Leon still had a bit of conscience left. At the corner of Rosvitha's temple, he braided a thin braid. From an aesthetic perspective, this little braid indeed added a bit of playful cuteness to Rosvitha's appearance. Leon didn't unravel it. Instead, he placed it by her pillow. Standing up, he stretched lazily. Let's go out for a walk. It's time to move on to the next step of the plan. Vol 1ch 58. Noya sat on a bench in the training ground, sweat trickling down her small nose and forehead. She had just finished a set of physical training. During her break, Noya recalled the brief conversation she had with Leon yesterday. Mother is still unconscious. Do you have any plans? No, I have no plans, Noya. I just want to take care of Mother properly. This question was not without reason. In fact, for a long time, Noya felt that there was something strange about her family. It might not be as harmonious as it appeared. Leon and Mother seemed to be hiding something from others, including Noya and Muin. What could be so secretive that even their own daughter couldn't be told? Noya couldn't understand, but she faintly guessed that Leon might not belong here. He had tried to escape before, and Mother, Muin, and she had all witnessed it. But when Mother caught him and brought him back, and Noya asked where the man wanted to escape to, Mother avoided the question. Since then, Leon had obediently stayed in the temple, taking care of the children and teaching, without any intention of escaping. But Noya was very clear that this man, who was full of mysteries, was very clever. No one knew if he willingly stayed here or secretly waited for the next chance to escape. So the reply he gave Noya yesterday, I have no plans, I just want to take care of Mother, whether it was true or false, only he knew. When there were unknown factors behind a love, Noya would rather stay away from it than become a tool used by others. So she always felt there was something between her and Leon. In Noya's eyes, Leon's love didn't seem so pure. Noya tightly closed her eyes, shook her head to clear her thoughts, and jumped off the bench, intending to do one more set of physical exercises before going back to rest. But as soon as she took a step, she heard Muin's voice. Sister, sister. Muin hurriedly ran over. Noya quickly met her halfway. What's wrong? Don't panic, tell me slowly. My magic cube is broken, and I wanted to find Dad to fix it, but I can't find him anywhere. Noya frowned, unconsciously gripping Muin's hand tightly. Could her guess be? However, Noya didn't jump to conclusions but said, let's go and look for him again. Okay. However, after searching around, they still didn't find Leon. The two sisters went to Rosvitha's room. Seeing their mother unconscious on the bed, Muin couldn't help but cry. Mom, Dad's gone. There was no doubt that Noya's speculation and worry were correct. Leon, he had indeed left. Suppressing her disappointment and sadness, Noya comforted her sister when she cried herself out. Muin, don't cry. Some people are good, but if they don't belong here, they will leave sooner or later. But Mom is unconscious now, Dad is gone, what are we going to do in the future? It's okay, Sister will take care of you, protect you. Sister has grown a lot and can do many things. She always boasted about being an adult, and at this moment, she finally firmly took on the responsibilities of an adult, even though she didn't even have a kindergarten graduation certificate. So what should we do now? Muin asked. Noya's eyes flickered, catching sight of a photo on the bedside table. It was a shrunken family portrait they had taken before. Since he's gone, it means we have to start a new life. Let's bid farewell to that guy properly. Noya took Muin back to their room, then found a backup photo they had taken when they started school. She then took a pair of scissors and cut out Leon's part. What are you doing, sister? Muin asked. In the adult world, when someone leaves, you put their photo on a stand, then place some flowers and light a bunch of fire next to it, Noya explained seriously. Then you throw in everything you think is meaningful to him into the fire as a farewell. Muin sniffled a bit, her voice choked up. Muin doesn't understand. Anyway, it's for the good of our father. Oh, okay, then Muin will find something meaningful for Dad. Yeah, oh, and remember to change into a black dress later. Why? Muin asked. I don't know, but adults wear black clothes when saying goodbye. Okay, Muin understands. After making arrangements, Noya tucked away Leon's photo, then crawled under the bed to retrieve her small wooden box. Inside was still a piece of black fragment, a paper with her name on it, and a handmade magic cube. After reminiscing for a moment, Noya walked out of the room with the wooden box. About an hour later, in the backyard of the temple, the two dragon girls were dressed in black skirts. Muen held a plate of fried steak, because Dad seemed to really like fried steak, so she planned to throw the steak into the fire later. Noya held her small wooden box. In addition, they had gathered some maids from the temple. The maids were puzzled by the orders of the two princesses. What are we doing? I don't know, maybe the two princesses are playing some kind of make-believe game. A game, it looks very grand and serious to me. They even took down the prince's photo. Our children's thoughts, how would we understand? Let's just obediently follow along. True. Quiet. Noya had a serious expression on her face. We are now conducting a farewell ceremony for Leon Cosmod. Everyone, please take this seriously. The maids stood upright, trying their best to cooperate with the princesses. Looking back on Leon Cosmod's life, it was a short but splendid life. His departure is undoubtedly a heavy blow to us. The maid's eyes twitched slightly. What kind of make-believe game is this? Why does it look like a funeral? The prince didn't say anything, so let's not ask too many questions. But according to this make-believe scenario, shouldn't the prince be dead by now? Hush, be quiet. Imitating the emphasis of the adults after her speech ended, Noya placed Leon's photo on the table behind her. Abstractly, she couldn't find a photo stand, so she used an empty tin can instead. Of course, this was Muen's idea. Okay, you can start crying now, Noya said. See, cry. Yes, don't people cry when they say goodbye? As soon as she finished speaking, Muen's voice came from beside her, sobbing, Dad, why don't you want us anymore? Muen misses you so much. Muen even made fried steak for you. Please come back and look at Muentilda. Muen cried with such fervor. Truly immersed in her role. Noya turned her head and pointed at Muen. See, just like my little sister. Although she still didn't quite understand why the princess would play such an inauspicious make-believe game. But as they said, since the prince didn't object, the maids should obediently follow along. Prince, please don't leave. Your two daughters are so adorable. Can you bear to leave us? Prince, we can't bear to see you go, Tilda. The maids began to cooperate. Noya also turned around, looking at the bonfire in front of her. Muen, did you throw the fried steak into the fire? Muen nodded, but why do you still have a piece in your hand? After the farewell, Muen might get hungry, so Dad probably wouldn't mind, right? Noya's expression turned serious. I guess not. With that, she looked down at the wooden box in her hand. This was her last connection with that man. Burning it would sever all ties with him. Noya took a deep breath, then slowly exhaled, as if she had finally made a decision. Farewell, father. But at that moment, they suddenly heard a familiar voice nearby. Oh, who are we bidding farewell to? Let me join in. The two little dragon girls turned to the direction of the voice in unison. They saw the familiar man kneeling there, bowing twice to the photo on the table. Then he stood up, smiling. When I was young, your grandfather taught me how to play the suona. Do you know what a suona is? It's a mysterious instrument from the East, often played during ceremonies. Would you like Daddy to show you? Before the two little ones could react, the maids behind them exclaimed, The princess's filial piety moves the heavens. The prince has resurrected. Sleeping dragon, what's all this noise? Vol 1ch 59. Let's rewind to this morning. Leon found Anna. Good morning, Your Highness, Leon said, holding two drinks. He handed one to Anna. Good morning, Anna. Anna took the drink but didn't seem inclined to drink it. Instead, she smiled and replied, Thank you, Your Highness. Is there something you need from me? Oh, it's nothing important. I just wanted to ask if there are any interesting places around the temple, or perhaps places that Rasvitha likes to visit. I want to take a walk and clear my mind. Anna nodded. Yes, Your Highness. I can have someone show you around. No need for that. Just give me a list and maybe a map. I'll find my own way. Sure thing. A moment later, Anna marked some locations on the map. These are places that Her Majesty the Queen likes to visit. Great, thank you, Anna. You're welcome, Your Highness. With the map in hand, Leon went to the back mountain of the temple. He had only just woken up over a month ago, and he had been confined to the nursery room by Rosvitha, so he hadn't had a chance to explore. His activities were limited to the nursery room, the backyard, and the training ground. This time, he finally got an opportunity when Rosvitha passed out. Leon had to seize this chance to carefully plan his revenge. He wanted Rosvitha to know that in this world, there's more than just the dragon race with a strong sense of vengeance. As the saying goes, even rabbits bite when they're desperate. Moreover, Leon is a cunning rabbit who knows how to be patient and set traps. According to the markings on the map, Leon first arrived at a cherry blossom forest. The terrain here was quite high, with cherry blossom trees growing in a scattered manner. These were old trees, thick and lush. Leon walked around, surveying the area, until he stood under a cherry blossom tree, then turned to look down at the Silver Dragon Temple below. From this vantage point, Leon could see the entire Silver Dragon Temple. The ancient and majestic castle, the spacious front and back courtyards, and various defensive measures around the temple were all within his sight. He could even see the route he took 2 years ago when he led the attack on the Silver Dragon Temple. Now, the checkpoints along that route were reinforced compared to other areas. It seemed that the Mother Dragon had learned from her mistakes. Back then, Leon had studied for a long time to find the weakest point in the defense of the Silver Dragon Temple. If there hadn't been a sneak attack from behind, Leon might have actually captured the Mother Dragon. Well, heroes don't dwell on past glories. Failure is failure, and there's no point dwelling on it, but it could be said that fortune favors the brave. Leon is now contributing to the dragon-slaying cause in his own way. In short, he's taking a roundabout approach. Seriously, to be able to restrain the Silver Dragon Queen without spending a single soldier, there's no precedent in the history of both humans and dragons. Rosvitha's recent assessment of Leon was indeed accurate. Now you're a godlike figure who has earned 2 secondary achievements alongside the primary one. Leon shook his head, clearing his thoughts. He walked to the base of a tree, lifted his arms, leaned slightly forward and rested his hands on the sturdy trunk. Then he turned his head slightly, and from this angle he could see the entire Silver Dragon Temple perfectly. This angle and posture are just right. Satisfied, Leon eagerly moved on to the next location. After winding through several twists and turns, he arrived at a cave. There were no signs of wildlife in the cave, making it suitable for 2 people to focus on what they love to do. However, Leon crouched down and pinched the soil here. It's a bit hard, might hurt her knees. Also, hey tilde, hey tilde tilde tilde. The cave immediately echoed with crisp responses. The echo is too loud, ruining the atmosphere. This won't do. With that, Leon marked an X on the map at the cave's location. The next stop was a small stream in the mountains, flowing straight down the slope. Leon lay down by the riverbank. The cool water flowed swiftly beneath his head. With an unobstructed view and no trees or forests around, lying by this riverbank at night would offer a panoramic view of the entire night sky. Not bad, this spot will do. With that, he marked a checkmark on the map at the location of the stream, just like he did with the cherry blossom forest earlier. Throughout the whole day, Leon surveyed various terrains and landscapes near the Silver Dragon Temple. In a trance, he even found himself reminiscing about the days when he was the captain of the dragon-slaying squad 2 years ago. Every infiltration operation required careful analysis of attack and retreat routes, weighing various advantages and disadvantages. It was thanks to the solid foundation laid back then that Leon was able to pinpoint the right places today. Mother Dragon, this time you're done for. By the time he finished his survey, it was already nighttime when he descended the mountain. The Silver Dragon Temple at the foot of the mountain was brightly lit. The temple looked much softer at night than during the day. Leon admired it briefly before quickly making his way to the temple's backyard. As he approached the backyard, he noticed it seemed lively. The maids were gathered together, as if having a bonfire party. Leon walked over eagerly, but upon closer inspection, he realized it wasn't quite a party. It seemed more like a memorial for someone, and at the forefront stood his 2 daughters. What abstract game of pretend are they playing? Leon muttered to himself as he jogged over. When he reached the crowd, he saw the maids crying and laughing at the same time, which only added to his confusion. Baffled, Leon continued towards the front, where he found his 2 daughters shouting something like, "I made steak for you, come back and see us," or similar sentiments. Then he quietly approached Naira and saw her about to throw a wooden box into the bonfire. To the daughters, one must adhere to the policy of trusting first and then trusting again. If they don't understand, it's okay. The first task is to participate. So, Whom are you paying respects to? Let me join in too. When I was young, your grandfather even taught me how to play the suona. Do you know what a suona is? It's a mysterious instrument from the East, often played during ceremonies for others. Would you like Dad to show you a little? The princesses move heaven with their filial piety, and His Royal Highness is resurrected. Leon turned his head, his face full of black lines. Who's so rude? I never died in the first place. Where's this talk of resurrection coming from? With that said, he looked at Noya and Muin again. The two little ones looked astonished and stunned, as if they really saw Leon rise from the dead. Leon leaned back slightly, feeling uneasy. He looked sideways at the table behind the bonfire, where a photo was hastily placed. And the person in the photo looked quite familiar. Excuse me, may I ask what you two are doing? My dear daughters, if you are conducting a ceremony for me, isn't it a bit too extreme? Daddy. Muin jumped into Leon's arms, holding a stake in her hand. Leon naturally opened his arms and caught his youngest daughter. Daddy, sobbed Tilda. Muin thought Daddy didn't want Muin anymore. Tilda. What nonsense are you talking? How could Daddy not want you? But Muin and I looked for you several times and couldn't find you. I thought you. As Leon comforted Muin, he explained, I went for a walk in the hills today and accidentally stayed out too long, so I came back late. Noya's eyes slightly welled up at his words, a lump forming in her throat. She subconsciously held the wooden box in her arms tighter, lowered her head and remained silent. So it was she had wrongly accused him, hadn't she? Seeing Noya's reaction, Leon glanced at her and then at the maids present. There were too many people around. It wasn't convenient to have a heart-to-heart talk with his eldest daughter. It might be better to discuss it later. He patted Muin's head and noticed the stake in her hand. Muin, why are you still holding the stake? Muin sniffled, her shoulders shaking, tears and snot streaming down her face. This is an offering for Daddy. Zen offering? Muin nodded vigorously. Sister said that after someone leaves, the food they liked is called an offering. Leon silently covered his face with his hand. All right. So, Daddy. Yes. Now that you're back, can Muin eat your offering? Vol 1ch, 60. After comforting Muin slightly, the maid led her back. Leon followed behind them. When they reached Noya's side, Leon stopped in his tracks because Noya was staring at him intently. It was obvious she had something to say to him. After a brief moment of eye contact between father and daughter, Noya spoke up. Next time you go out alone, remember to let us know. Pausing for a moment, Noya added, Muin will worry about you a lot. If only you inherited a bit of your mother's temperament, you wouldn't be so stubborn. Leon smiled helplessly, nodding, all right, sorry for making Muin worry. Noya sniffled, feeling relieved. Also, I want to apologize to you too. Why? Leon inquired. When I couldn't find you today, I thought you abandoned us, Noya said. I'm sorry for not trusting you in this matter. A precocious child always consciously takes responsibility for their own mistakes. Even if she didn't speak up, no one would know about this mistake. Leon smiled with relief, squatting down to meet Noya's gaze. He understood his eldest daughter's heart. She yearned for affection and love, but was afraid to take that crucial step. Leon couldn't promise Noya anything with simple words like swear or guarantee. Noya wouldn't easily believe it either. He could only gradually prove through his actions that he was a good father. Leon reached out and patted Noya's head, not continuing on this topic any further. He simply reminded her, you have to return to the academy tomorrow morning, don't stay up too late. After everything was settled, Leon returned to Rosvitha's room. The mother dragon still showed no signs of waking up. Leon sat on the chair beside the bed, legs crossed, brushing off the dust from his pants, and sighed, you have no idea how filial our daughter is. I hope you can enjoy this filial piety in the future too. The only response he received was Rosvitha's steady breathing. Her breaths were slightly deeper compared to yesterday. Leon noticed this and reached out to feel her pulse. Indeed, her pulse was stronger than yesterday. Truly worthy of a Dragon King's body, the recovery speed is quite remarkable. Amidst his slight astonishment, Leon's gaze toward Rosvitha became somewhat sharper. It was as if a lion was slowly approaching its prey. Well, before the actual hunt, he needed to clean up the prey. Leon decided to attempt once again to wipe Rosvitha's body. He refused to believe that his dragon-slaying resolve could turn into anything else. He filled a basin with warm water, wet a towel, and stood by the bed, taking a few deep breaths. "All right, let's begin. This time I won't fail." His determined demeanor didn't seem like someone doing this for the first time. Rather, it was akin to a novice cook attempting to flip a pancake. He lifted the covers, no, the blankets. Rosvitha's slender body lay exposed before his eyes. The mother dragon might be devious, and their positions could be considered adversarial. However, this body was simply perfect, almost like a work of art, and art knows no boundaries. Leon didn't dwell too much on admiring it because he wasn't very knowledgeable about art. Moreover, he worried that this art might once again shake his resolve, which wouldn't be good. He quickly removed Rosvitha's strap nightgown. Blushing under the faint moonlight, he began wiping from her chin and neck downward. She was usually very clean, taking a bath every day. It had been 2 days since she fell into a coma, and Leon had only washed her face and hands. Due to the intimate nature of cleaning her body, he felt somewhat embarrassed. Being candidly exposed was unavoidable, but meticulously wiping her body was different, you know. If he could, Leon would even want to wear his black and gold battle armor to clean this mother dragon's body. Because that scent would be fitting, right? A dragon slayer should be fully equipped to face a mother dragon head-on. Actually, once he wore the helmet, he wouldn't have to worry about his blushing face being seen. Black and gold battle armor, armor for eating. Wait a minute. Leon had a sudden realization. If he didn't have a helmet, he could use something else to cover his eyes, and that's when the ear-covering thief appeared in his mind. Leon wasted no time. He found a piece of cloth and covered his eyes with it. Besides, back in the academy, he had practiced blindfolded combat, relying on extremely precise and sensitive touch to achieve top results, so blindfolded massage shouldn't be a problem at all. However, it turned out that being too precise and sensitive wasn't such a good thing. As the warm towel brushed over Rosvitha's chest, the sensation changed completely from plains to mountains. Leon's face turned beet red, and his hands trembled slightly. Even because of the blindfold, his other senses became even more acute, almost to the point of hallucination. Master Lei, use a bit more force, need my waist harder. Not only that, but it seemed like the blindfold was somewhat translucent. Faintly, Leon saw flashes of purple light. It definitely wasn't a dragon tattoo. Absolutely not. In the end, he held his breath and summoned a great deal of courage to finish wiping Rosvitha's upper body. When he reached her abdomen and thighs, Leon felt much more at ease. After completing the whole process, Leon realized that blindfolded massage was much more tiring than doing it with eyes open. So he silently crossed out blindfolded massage from his post-dragon slaying life checklist. After tidying everything up, Leon massaged her hands and feet again to promote blood circulation. Hey, this isn't just to take care of the mother dragon, you know. It's to prevent her from waking up with numb hands and feet and not being able to cooperate properly with Leon. That's why he was so meticulous. Yes, everything was for a better enjoyment during revenge. Feeling relieved after finishing everything, Leon thought for a moment, then placed the toy bear he had brought from the Dragonling Park next to Rosvitha's pillow. This was considered a relatively satisfying night for him. Exhaustion washed over him, and instead of climbing into bed, he simply moved a chair to the bedside and fell into a deep sleep, lying with his head on the edge of the bed. However, due to fatigue and an uncomfortable sleeping position, Leon kept having strange dreams. In a daze, Leon's arm moved, and his fingers accidentally touched the toy bear. However, the texture didn't feel like the cotton filling inside a toy bear. It felt somewhat hard. Leon opened his eyes slightly to glance at the toy bear, but it appeared normal on the outside. Without thinking much about it, he closed his eyes again and drifted back into sleep. The next morning, Noya entered Rosvitha's room. Seeing Leon sleeping there in such a position instead of on the bed, she murmured softly, "Did taking care of Mom tire you out this much?" Noya tiptoed over, grabbed a jacket as she passed the sofa, and walked over to Leon. Just as she was about to cover him with the jacket to keep him from catching a cold, Leon startled awake with a jolt. Noya, good morning." Leon rubbed his sleepy eyes and stretched lazily, heading to school. Noya nodded. "Let's go, I'll walk you." "No need, just rest up." Leon smiled, stood up and bounced on the spot a couple of times. "It's fine. Let's go." Noya didn't say anything further. The father and daughter arrived at the front courtyard of the temple, waiting for the school bus driver, Leviath. How's Mom? Noya asked. She's recovering quickly. When you come back this weekend, she'll probably be awake, Leon spoke honestly. Must thank you for taking care of Mom, Noya replied. Leon smiled and patted her head. We're family, there's no such thing as hardship. As they chatted, Leviathan's massive figure appeared in the distance. Will there be a lot of tests this week? Leon asked. Yes. Just perform normally and you'll definitely improve, Noya. Okay, got it. The giant dragon Leviathan hovered slowly above the Silver Dragon Temple, then opened the teleportation beam. I'm off then. All right, be careful on the way and take care of yourself. Noya nodded and hurried into the teleportation beam below Leviathan. She turned around, hesitated for a moment, and finally waved to Leon. Leon also waved his arms with a smile. Pay attention in class, stay away from those troublemakers, and if you're bullied, fight back. Dad's got your back. Okay. Although Leon wanted to say, if anyone bullies my daughter, I'll wipe out their whole dragon clan because that's Dad's expertise, he thought better of it. It might be too gruesome for a child. Leviathan flapped its massive wings and slowly departed from the Silver Dragon Temple. Leon stood with his hands in his pockets, silently watching Leviathan fade into the distance. Meanwhile in the room, the silver-haired beauty lying on the soft bed stirred slightly, moving her fingers. Vol 1ch, 61. That evening, Risvitha slowly opened her eyes. Before her was a pure white ceiling, beneath her a soft bed. The blanket covering her still carried a familiar scent. She attempted to sit up, but found that she had no strength, as if all her energy had been drained from her. So she obediently lay back down and tried to recall what had happened before she passed out. She remembered using the blood enchantment on Leon that night. Witnessing Leon's willingly corrupted side satisfied her greatly. Then, under the dual effects of the dragon pattern, they quickly entwined together. Afterward, it felt like she had slept for a very long time. During that time, she seemed to have had many dreams. Some dreams were about Leon caring for her around the clock. Others were about Leon dressing her up as a shameful bunny girl to fulfill his strange desires while she slept peacefully. She even dreamt that Leon had died. Her daughters arranged a grand funeral for her. That must have been a dream. It was too absurd to be real. Such a thing could never happen. But then again, why did she remain unconscious for so long? Was it because of the backlash from the blood enchantment? Risvitha had conducted extensive research before using it, and with her Dragon King physique, she should have been able to withstand the backlash from the blood enchantment. Why did she fall into a coma after using it? Could it be because she had sacrificed her own? Suddenly a childish voice sounded beside her. Risvitha glanced down and saw a tuft of little hair gently scratching her own hand. It was Muin, the young dragon girl, lying at the bedside, breathing evenly as if asleep. Risvitha smiled wearily but with relief, raising her hand to gently stroke her daughter's small head. This small gesture stirred Muin awake. Her brain not fully functioning yet, Muin swayed drowsily on the chair, as if about to fall asleep again. Risvitha smiled and softly called out, Muin. Mom, you're awake. Muin immediately perked up, her drowsiness gone. She grabbed Risvitha's hand, pressing her mom's palm against her own face, tears of excitement welling up in her eyes. Mom, you're finally awake. Muin was so worried about you. Don't cry, Muin, Mom's all right. Risvitha wiped away the tears from her daughter's eyes and pinched her chubby cheeks. Sorry for worrying you. What about your sister? Sister went back to school this morning. Oh, she went back this morning. Risvitha did a quick mental calculation. When she fell into a coma, Noya had just started her break. Now Noya has gone back. That meant she had probably been unconscious for over 2 days. Over 2 days? Suddenly, Risvitha realized something and struggled to sit up. However, her body was too weak, and she couldn't muster any strength. The resilience of a Dragon King's physique had allowed Risvitha to wake up earlier from the coma caused by the backlash of the blood enchantment. However, although her consciousness had returned, her body was still being affected by the side effects. In other words, Risvitha was no different from being unconscious. She could only talk to her family now, and the thing she had just realized was Leon. But there was no sign of Leon anywhere in the room. He was a proud and intelligent man who would choose to endure and lie low to achieve his goals. And this time, her coma had created a perfect opportunity for him to escape. Risvitha closed her eyes in frustration. biting her lip tightly, regretting her miscalculation from 2 days ago. Damn it, if she had calculated more accurately, perhaps. Mewan, how about we have fish for dinner tonight? I just caught a very, oh, beloved wife, you're awake. That infuriating nickname, that smug tone, it was all too familiar. Risvitha opened her eyes and looked in the direction of the voice. Upon seeing that bastard's figure, Risvitha rarely showed a surprised expression. You didn't leave. Her mind was still not fully awake after just waking up, and Risvitha blurted out the question that concerned her the most. Only after speaking did she realize that Mewan was beside her. I did leave, Leon shrugged, trying to smooth things over. I went for a walk in the back hills, just strolling around, breathing in the fresh air. Risvitha breathed a sigh of relief inwardly. Well, and you caught such a big fish. Of course, to help my wife regain her strength. Risvitha was left speechless. A blush crept onto her cheeks. Dad, that's so embarrassing, Mewan covered her ears. Leon grinned and handed the caught fish to Mewan. Go find Anna and ask her to prepare the fish for dinner. Oh, by the way, I need to talk to Mom alone for a bit, so don't disturb us before dinner. Okay, I got it, Mewan nodded, then hurriedly left the room, carefully closing the door behind her. I thought you might just leave your daughter and run away, Risvitha said. Leon sat on the chair by the bed, leaned back, propped his legs up, adopting a bossy posture. I still have a lot of things to settle, why would I run away? Things? What things? Risvitha asked. He reached out his hand, wiggling his fingers between himself and Risvitha. The things between you and me. Risvitha's heart skipped a beat, sensing trouble. She withdrew her arm from outside the covers, although she already had a premonition of what might happen. Still, she asked, What do you mean? Do you remember what you did to me when I first woke up over a month ago? Leon said, rising from his seat and sitting on the edge of the bed, reaching out to tuck a strand of Risvitha's hair behind her ear. Risvitha stared at him intently. No, Leon, I'm very weak right now. Weak? Wasn't I weak back then too? I had just woken up 10 minutes earlier, hadn't even had a sip of water, and then you walked in and did what you did to me. Have you forgotten everything? Risvitha bit her lip, trying to muster her magical power, but there was no response. So she tried to threaten him. Leon, my body won't be like this forever. When I recover, you should know what your fate will be, so don't make any decisions you'll regret. Regret? No, my dear wife, this is the best decision I've ever made in my life. Leon, if anyone should regret it, it should be you, Leon said slowly, pulling back the covers from Risvitha's body, exposing her perfect form to his gaze. You should regret rushing to seek revenge as soon as I woke up. You should regret using the blood temptation a few days ago. You should regret threatening me when you were completely defenseless. Leon traced his fingers lightly over Risvitha's cheek, then moved downward, touching her chin, neck, collarbone, and shoulders. Finally, he undid the straps of Risvitha's nightgown, revealing the dragon tattoo on her chest, shimmering with a faint purple light. Leon, even though I'm weak now, do you think you're strong? Risvitha challenged. It's only been 2 days since I woke up from my coma. How much can your body recover? Risvitha, I'm not afraid of you. Risvitha might not understand that her words were only adding fuel to the fire, but to make her, the Silver Dragon Queen, beg for mercy was impossible. She would rather endure than kneel and beg. Leon gently grasped her chin, the faint glow of the dragon tattoo and Risvitha's panic reflected in his black eyes. //. My dear Miss Risvitha Melkvi, save your strength. Now it's your turn to be the prisoner. Vol 1ch, 62. At this moment, Leon finally understood the joy of Risvitha's situation. Turns out, watching someone want to devour you yet being helpless, enduring physical torment, feels like this. One word. Bliss. Of course, the bliss didn't stop there. Risvitha's eyes at this moment were so complex that they couldn't be accurately described in words. Anger, frustration, resistance, unwillingness. And the regret of wanting to yield yet resisting, yearning but hating her own body's weakness. In that moment, Leon understood her. She understood Leon as well. In this instant, the two reached an unprecedented level of mutual understanding. As the saying goes, when you're together, you always need to see things from the other's perspective, think more for them. Well, isn't Leon embodying this phrase right now? Embodying it deeply, thoroughly. Risvitha had just awakened, her body extremely weak. Barely 20 minutes had passed before she was exhausted. Yet this delicate appearance, coupled with her unwilling gaze, seemed even more charming. Gradually entering a state, Rosvitha's vision began to darken. She swallowed, then suddenly spoke. "Leon." "Yes, are you asking for mercy, your majesty?" Leon responded. Rosvitha coldly snorted in exhaustion, squinting her eyes, and said in a provocative tone, "You haven't eaten, is this your level?" Leon admired the courage and resilience of this dragoness. Even at such a time, her mouth could still be so stubborn. But at the same time, she would pay the price for her stubbornness. Leon launched the final blow. With a bone-chilling sensation, Rosvitha's brain buzzed instantly. The chandelier on the ceiling flickered in her eyes. She felt the sensation coursing through her body, both wonderful and agonizing. She wanted to break free, but uncontrollably savored the beauty of that moment. A blush spread across her pale cheeks, her lips trembling slightly, her heartbeat gradually subsiding after that moment. Then Rosvitha lost all sense, closed her eyes and fainted. Leon, still panting heavily, calmed down slightly after the agitation. He leaned forward, gently shook Rosvitha's chin. "No response. HMPH serves you right for being stubborn." He got out of bed, cleaned Rosvitha's body, dressed her, and covered her with a blanket. Then he went to the bathroom for a shower before leaving the room. About 2 hours later, Leon returned with Muin. He was carrying a bowl of hot fish soup. Rosvitha woke up again at this point. It was hard to imagine, but she had just been overwhelmed by this guy. She leaned against the headboard, and upon hearing footsteps, turned her face away, not wanting to see that jerk. "Mama," little Muin called out softly. Rosvitha sighed inwardly and slowly turned her head. She forced a weary smile. "Full now, Muin?" "Yeah, full. Daddy brought fish soup for you, Mommy. Try it quickly." "I'm not hungry." "Tusk, how can you not eat when you're recovering from illness?" Leon looked like a concerned husband as he sat by the bed with the fish soup. Rosvitha glared at him, her gaze as if she wanted to stew him into soup too. Leon took a spoonful of soup, blew on it considerately, and offered it to Rosvitha's mouth. "Here, drink it. I specially made it for you." "I'm not hungry," Rosvitha persisted. "Don't be stubborn. What if you set a bad example for the child?" Muin was always Leon's strongest weapon. Rosvitha gritted her teeth, glaring at him. Finally, reluctantly, she slightly opened her mouth. Leon carefully fed her the fish soup. "Is it good, darling?" "Good drink," Rosvitha managed to squeeze out 2 words through her teeth. "Yeah, if it's good, have some more." Then another spoonful. Rosvitha obediently drank it. As he fed her, Leon continued, "Fish soup is nourishing. You've just recovered from a serious illness. You need to drink more to recover quickly." Rosvitha sneered. "HMPH, I want to recover quickly too." "Right, this family can't be without you, my dear." After finishing the bowl of fish soup, Leon tenderly wiped away the liquid residue from the corners of her mouth. Out of Muin's sight, Rosvitha lowered her eyes, staring at Leon's fingers, and then viciously bit down on them. Leon clenched his other fist in pain, but managed not to cry out. Muin stood behind him, unable to see Rosvitha biting him. But biting seemed to be the only retaliation this dragoness could think of at the moment. After all, what good was being stubborn all over if she didn't bite? After a small act of revenge, Rosvitha released his fingers and said satisfactorily, "Tastes pretty good." Leon awkwardly withdrew his fingers, discreetly rubbing them in the pocket of his shirt. Damn, dragons had strong biting power. "As long as you like it, darling," Leon said, setting down the soup bowl and moving closer. "What are you doing?" Rosvitha panicked. "Sigh, after sleeping for 2 days, you've forgotten everything, darling. Let me give you a massage to help you relax," Leon said. "I don't need you to massage me." "Mommy, let Daddy massage you," Muin exclaimed excitedly. "Daddy's been taking care of you while you were unconscious." Rosvitha's mouth twitched slightly. How did he take care of me?" "He washed your face, hands and feet, gave you massages, changed your clothes." "My clothes were also." Muin tilted her head, not understanding why Mommy suddenly seemed so agitated. Rosvitha forced herself to calm down. "It's fine, everything's fine." "Then come on, darling, where do you feel uncomfortable?" let me massage you. I feel uncomfortable all over. Then I'll give you a full-body massage, Leon said eagerly, cracking his knuckles. Hrysvitha panicked instantly. Stop. I suddenly feel better, just my feet are a little numb. Could you massage my feet? Sure thing. Leon went to the foot of the bed, lifted a corner of the blanket, and gently pressed on Hrysvitha's tender foot. Meanwhile, Muin stood at the head of the bed, recounting how patiently Leon had cared for her these past 2 days. Hrysvitha pretended to be touched, saying, "Oh, Daddy is so kind and gentle." But inwardly she thought, Casmode, just wait until I'm better. I'll definitely give you a hard time. As she listened, Hrysvitha suddenly felt a tickling sensation in the soles of her feet. Tilde. What's wrong, darling? Is the pressure not enough? Hrysvitha glared at him. It's enough, very much so, thank you. Leon grinned. You're welcome, darling. Let me continue then. He started tickling her feet. Hrysvitha endured the unbearable tickling sensation, clutching the sheets tightly beneath the blanket. Mama, and also Daddy has spent almost all his time with you these past few days, taking care of you. Daddy really loves Mommy, Muin said excitedly. Hrysvitha knew that spending all his time with her wasn't just about taking care of her. It was about giving her a surprise the moment she woke up, just like what Leon had done to her when he first woke up. However, the back mountain, Hrysvitha asked, enduring the tickling sensation on the soles of her feet. What were you doing there? Nothing much, just wandering around because I was bored. Hrysvitha naturally didn't believe this excuse. This guy was definitely up to something fishy. Muin, Hrysvitha looked at Leon, calling their daughter's name. Go to sleep. I need to talk to Daddy about something. Muin nodded obediently, hopping off the bed. Goodbye, Daddy. Take care of Mommy. Sure, Daddy will take good care of Mommy, Leon said with exaggerated care. Good night, sweetheart. Go to sleep without worries. Okay, Tilda. Muin scampered out of the room. The moment the door was closed and locked, Hrysvitha kicked Leon's face. But due to her weakened state, her movements were slow, and Leon easily caught her foot. We had plenty of fish soup tonight. I don't want to eat dragon claws again, Hrysvitha said, withdrawing her foot and asking coldly, what were you doing at the back mountain? Curious, Leon asked. Tell me. Leon got up, walked to the edge of the bed, and lifted Hrysvitha up in a princess carry. Hrysvitha felt flustered. What are you doing? You wanted to know what I was doing at the back mountain, right? I'll show you now. Vol 1ch, 63. The night was deep, and a gentle breeze blew, carrying a hint of coolness. Leon carried Hrysvitha away from the backyard of the Silver Dragon Temple, heading straight for the back mountain. Hrysvitha recognized this path. Are you taking me to the cherry blossom forest? Leon nodded silently. What are we going there for? Hrysvitha asked. Because from there, you can see the entire Silver Dragon Temple, Leon replied. Hrysvitha frowned slightly, not quite understanding his words. Why would he take her to see the Silver Dragon Temple from that place? Was there any significance to it? With doubts in her mind, they arrived at the cherry blossom forest. Leon found a cherry blossom tree at the edge of the forest. Compared to the other trees, this one was thicker and taller, with a sturdy trunk. Leon stood beneath the tree, turned around and looked towards the direction of the Silver Dragon Temple. There, can you see it? That's your temple. From this height, the entire Silver Dragon Temple was clearly visible. The majestic castle stood among the mountains, brightly lit, like a secluded paradise isolated from the world. What exactly are you planning? Hrysvitha asked. Do you remember my first escape a month ago? Leon asked. Hrysvitha's pupils trembled slightly. Of course, she remembered Leon's first escape. After she caught him, she took him to the mountains on the outskirts of the empire, and then tied him to a tree where they could see the entire empire. Could it be? Ladons, you wouldn't be. It seems you figured it out, Your Majesty. Yes, the principle of an eye for an eye is not exclusive to your dragon race. As a human, I also have a strong sense of revenge and ceremony, Leon said. Hrysvitha leaned against him, wrapping her arms around his neck and tightly gripping his collar. Leon, in this regard, we really are alike. Leon chuckled. That's what they say, my dear wife. A family that retaliates together stays together. HMPH, then how do you plan to get me onto the tree? Rosvitha asked, smiling. The skeletal density of dragons is much greater than that of humans. Just carrying me here must have cost you a lot of strength, hasn't it? Who said I had to put you on the tree? Leon replied. Rosvitha, please understand, I'm not trying to completely replicate what you did. I'm doing everything I can to take your humiliation to the extreme. Rosvitha suppressed her eyebrows. Leon. Ignoring her, Leon helped her up and made her face away from him, towards the trunk of the cherry blossom tree. Stand still, like a good girl. Rosvitha placed her hands on the trunk, trying to turn around to resist, but before she could say anything, Leon grabbed the back of her neck, forcing her to look down at the Silver Dragon temple below. Rosvitha knew she couldn't escape this fate, but the more she knew what was about to happen, the more she wanted to resist, the more she felt unwilling. Leon indulged in his revenge ceremony. The dragon tattoo shimmered in the night. The lights of the temple reflected in Rosvitha's silver eyes, shining brightly. Do you see it, Rosvitha? Your palace is right in front of your eyes, Leon said. Don't blink, my dear, look at it carefully. All your pride and dignity come from there. But can you tell me what we're doing right now? Rosvitha asked. Every word she had once said to him was now being thrown back at her, word for word. Isn't it just you, the defeated dragon slayer, being humiliated again? Leon's words felt like a fire burning on her face. The feeling of shame ate away at Rosvitha. She gripped the rough tree trunk tightly, trying to counter the inner conflict and struggle with a slight pain. Damn it, she should be feeling angry right now. So why, under Leon's verbal humiliation, was she expecting more? But she couldn't express her desires to Leon. She could only follow his rhythm and slowly experience and enjoy it. As the integration deepened, Rosvitha closed her eyes, allowing Leon to indulge in his desires. Perhaps due to the intense vibrations, cherry blossom petals fell gently from the tree, scattering on Rosvitha's head and shoulders. Her body indulged in this fallen revenge. Her will wanted to resist, but the wonderful feeling was too addictive. So, since things had come to this, unable to change, why not meet Leon's revenge in her own way as the Silver Dragon Queen? She abruptly opened her eyes before the peak arrived, using her tail to gently coil around Leon's wrist that was pressing against her waist. Hold on to your last chance, Leon, she said, because I will seek even more intense revenge on you later. While you still have control of the situation, do your best to make me feel ashamed and resentful. Leon reached back to grab Rosvitha's tail, pushing it aside. He then leaned in, lightly biting her shoulder. I will satisfy you, your majesty, he whispered, but don't go soft on me. Cherry blossoms fell as their shadows danced. The atmosphere continued to heat up, and eventually they both reached a peak of pleasure. Exhausted, Rosvitha sat leaning against the tree, catching her breath. Silver strands of hair clung to her cheeks, and sweat trickled down her nose and forehead. The blush on her face hadn't completely faded, and with her head lightly resting against the cherry blossom tree, she looked tired and delicate. Her body, already not fully recovered, was now even weaker after the exertion. However, Leon clearly had no intention of letting her off easily. He approached her, squatting down, gently lifting her chin and brushing away the sweat-dampened strands of hair from her face. You've worked hard, my dear wife, he said softly. Rosvitha shook her head, pushing away Leon's hand. Is that all? I thought you had more prepared, she retorted. It's far from over. I told you I will satisfy you, Leon replied. HMPH, then show me what you've got tonight. There won't be another chance, Rosvitha challenged. Don't talk to me about the future, Rosvitha. I've always lived in the moment. Leon chuckled playfully and continued leisurely. And you, Mother Dragon, you. His original plan was to use some radical and sarcastic words to mock Rosvitha. However, as he focused on the frail silver-haired beauty before him, those highly aggressive words lingered at the tip of his tongue, yet involuntarily swallowed back. Leon pursed his lips and finally said, HMPH, you look beautiful now, like a broken porcelain doll, even more appealing when seeking revenge. Rosvitha glared at him, and after a brief moment of eye contact, she averted her gaze. I'm cold. Leon didn't hear clearly. What? I said I'm cold. They had rushed out earlier, and Rosvitha was only wearing that camisole nightgown. She hugged her shoulders, curled up her long legs, and wrapped her tail around her waist, making the blushes on her porcelain-white skin even more conspicuous. Although the term didn't quite fit this mother dragon, Leon still felt that she seemed somewhat pitiable at this moment. This serene scenery should be enjoyed alone. Leon shook his head with a smile, then took off his coat and draped it over Rosvitha before lifting her up. Suddenly, he felt that this version of Rosvitha was obedient. Nestled in Leon's embrace, Rosvitha was powerless to move. She leaned her cheek against his chest, feeling his strong heartbeat, and her own cheeks inexplicably warmed up. They arrived by a small stream. The cicadas chirped, the evening breeze blew, the stream flowed, and the stars twinkled. It was quite pleasant lying here. But Rosvitha knew that Leon didn't bring her here just to admire the scenery. So, is there any significance here too? I can't see my temple here either. This stream, it's a place you really like, isn't it? Leon knelt between her legs and moved her tail aside, which was covering her belly. What if it is? Rosvitha replied. Well, then I'll make you like it even more. Whenever you come here, you'll only think of me. After halftime, the two engaged in the second round of battle. Their bodies burned with desire, unbearable heat. Behind them the stream rushed, refreshingly cool. What a paradox, ice and fire intertwined. The forced battle accelerated Rosvitha's body's recovery ability. She had fainted upon waking up, but now she had the strength to fight 2 battles in a row, albeit feeling a bit dizzy. This was the endurance of a Dragon King's body, simply remarkable. After the second battle, Leon lay down beside her to rest. He took out a map and a pen from his pocket and circled a spot. There was already one circle on the map, which Rosvitha recognized as the cherry blossom forest where they had just fought, and now the new circle was at the location of this stream. Rosvitha looked at the other positions on the map and suddenly felt dizzy. There were still 7 or 8 spots marked on the map with circles. That meant they still had to. My queen, tonight I won't let you off easily. After playing with me so many times, be prepared for a crash. Leon picked up Rosvitha and waded across the stream. His revenge frenzy was far from over. Vol 1ch 64. Before dawn, Leon carried Rosvitha back to their room. While preparing for this grand revenge, in addition to surveying the terrain, he also made sure to pinpoint the maid's waking time in the temple. Around 5 in the morning, the Silver Dragon Temple would start a new day of work and life. To avoid being discovered by the group of tail-wearing lizards that their queen had been taken by Leon for a night of fun in the mountains, it was necessary to avoid the rush hour phase. In addition, Leon also estimated whether his strength would be enough to handle the aftermath of another night of intense battle based on his own physical condition. As it turned out, he was quite accurate. After returning to the room, he briefly cleaned Rosvitha, who had fainted for the second time from exhaustion. After taking a shower himself, Leon's stamina bar was completely depleted. He lay down with Rosvitha on the bed and couldn't move anymore. They cuddled together at the head of the bed and fell into a deep sleep. The wind outside flowed in through the balcony window, blowing the curtains and gently caressing their tired faces. The beautiful woman's long eyelashes trembled slightly, perhaps because of the slight chill of the morning breeze, and she involuntarily snuggled her head into the arms of the person beside her. Rustle. Their skin lightly brushed against the blanket. Leon also turned his head, resting his face on Rosvitha's head, smelling the fragrance of her hair and feeling the delightful sensation of her hair lightly tickling his face. During deep sleep, it's instinctual for all creatures to move towards warmth. It's hard to imagine that the two people sleeping together at this moment were engaged in intense battles in the wilderness last night. Well, after all, the night always has a magical power to unleash the desires and cravings deep within people. At 8 o'clock in the morning, the door lock of the room clicked, followed by the hurried sound of small footsteps. Muen trotted into the bedroom, about to call out "Mommy, Daddy," only to find that the two of them were already asleep. The little dragon girl walked over, scratching her forehead in confusion. Why haven't they gotten up yet? Normally Mommy and Daddy always woke up very early. Well, maybe not Daddy, but Mommy always did. She approached and gently tugged on her mom's tail. Mommy, wake up, the sun is shining on your tail. Go play with Daddy, Rosvitha mumbled drowsily, snuggling closer to Leon. Muen then ran over to Leon's side and poked his arm. Daddy, wake up, the sun is shining on your butt. Leon rolled over, holding Rosvitha even tighter, and mumbled in a daze, go play with your mom. But you two are hugging so tightly, who can play with Muin? Muin stomped her foot in frustration. But after some thought, Mommy had just woken up from a coma recently, and Daddy also often became weak intermittently. Maybe it was just bad luck this time, and both of them ended up lying stiffly together. Muin nodded, feeling her analysis was unparalleled. Then let Muin take care of you both. With that, the little dragon girl jumped onto the bed, pinching a corner of the blanket and gently covering the unfortunate couple with it. However, Muin inadvertently noticed some red marks on Daddy's neck and arms. She knelt beside him and stared for a while. There were many of these marks, not like bite marks, nor like scratches. And not only Daddy, Mommy also had many of these marks on her body. The little dragon girl scratched her head. What is this? The next moment, a light bulb lit up in her head. Oh tilde, this must be bug bites. Muin knows how to treat them. She had been bitten by many insects when she played in the mountains before, and when she came back, it was so itchy that she couldn't stand it. Noya then used a magical ointment, and after applying it, she felt better quickly. Although she didn't know if Daddy and Mommy had gone to the mountains yesterday, these marks looked similar to the ones she had when she was bitten by bugs before, so using the same ointment from last time should work, right? Muin was also an action-oriented girl like Leon. Once she had an idea, she acted on it immediately. She went to her sister's room, found the ointment from last time, and then hurried back to Rosvitha's bedroom. She carefully applied the ointment to the marks on Leon and Rosvitha's bodies, doing each step meticulously and earnestly. But being just a child, she didn't have that kind of awareness. Otherwise, if she had uncovered Daddy and Mommy's clothes to take a look, Muin would have been shocked silly. Why are Daddy and Mommy bitten all over by bugs? Those darn bugs. Up arrow. That would probably be her reaction. After applying the ointment, Muin breathed a sigh of relief and smiled proudly, feeling relieved. I'm really capable. She knelt between the two sleeping figures of the couple, watching them embrace each other in slumber, feeling deeply moved. Since Daddy woke up, it seemed like she rarely saw them being so intimate. Muin was never a greedy child, so just watching Daddy and Mommy like this made her feel very happy. She wagged her tail, wishing that time could stop at this moment. Well, on second thought, maybe not, otherwise Daddy and Mommy wouldn't be able to continue loving her. She tucked Daddy and Mommy in with the blanket, and then quietly left the bedroom, closing the door behind her before leaving. In the afternoon, Leon gradually woke up. Looking at the blanket on him, before he could figure out who had covered him, he felt a warm breath next to his ear. Glancing sideways, he found himself cuddling with this mother dragon. Leon quickly got out of bed, shook his head, and then looked at the clock on the wall. It's already 3 in the afternoon. Having slept for over 10 hours, although still somewhat tired, he was in better shape than Rosvitha. She was sound asleep. Leon didn't wake her up. It's not that he didn't want to disturb her rest, but after toiling all night last night, Leon himself needed a break too, waiting for the cooldown to end. After settling Rosvitha, Leon washed his face in the bathroom, fully waking up. He began to calculate the current situation. Leon was well aware that he had angered Rosvitha, and there was no escaping death. As Rosvitha recovered, Leon would once again become the target of her wrath. However, Leon was not powerless at the moment. He could delay that day's arrival. Of course, the method was simple: to fiercely train that mother dragon, make her unable to eat, sleep well, and suffer harsh treatment. But in order to achieve the most efficient revenge in the limited time available, Leon could only resort to this. After all, his body would be useless once Rosvitha recovered, so why not make the most of it while it still could move? Torment. Relentless torment. After confirming his plan, Leon left the room eagerly, intending to inform the maids that they didn't need to prepare their meals for the evening. In the corridor, he hadn't taken a few steps when he ran into Anna, effortlessly. Anna was carrying a tray with a bowl of brownish soup on it. "What's this medicine, Anna?" Leon asked. "Oh, it's a tonic for Her Majesty. I heard that Her Majesty woke up, so I asked the tribe's pharmacist to prepare this medicine for Her Majesty. It helps to recover faster after drinking it. Is Her Majesty in her room?" Leon's mind stirred slightly and he said, "Ah, she's sleeping. Give me the medicine, I'll take it to her later." "All right then, Your Highness, I'll leave it to you." Good, you can go back to your duties. As you command, Your Highness. Anna nodded and saluted before turning away. Leon carried the medicine but didn't return to Rosvitha's room. Instead, he went to his own nursery. Locking the door behind him, he looked at the medicine in his hand. This medicine was supposed to help the mother dragon recover, so he reluctantly decided to act as a stand-in. Who knows, maybe it also had some strengthening or cooldown reduction effects. With this in mind, Leon downed the improvised offering in one gulp. After finishing it, Leon wiped his mouth and savored it. Not as good as dragon power. Setting down the bowl, he left and returned to Rosvitha's room. Silver Dragon Queen Rosvitha Melkvi, rise. Rosvitha opened her eyes wearily, covering her face with the toy bear beside the pillow. Go away, I want to sleep. Get up and take a bath, aren't you usually obsessed with cleanliness? With that, Leon walked over and pulled Rosvitha's arm, trying to get her out of bed. Rosvitha weakly resisted, staggering out of bed without even bothering to put on her slippers. Leon led her to the bathroom. Get in. Rosvitha stood under the shower head, arms and tail drooping, as if her body had awakened but her soul was still in bed. It wasn't until a warm stream flowed down that she suddenly jolted awake. Are you crazy, Leon? Didn't you stay up all night last night too? Aren't you tired? Aren't you sleepy? Instead of answering her, darkness suddenly enveloped the bathroom. Before Rosvitha could react, Leon stepped forward and pulled her into his arms. Rosvitha made a symbolic struggle, but even in symbolic terms, she could clearly feel the power imbalance between herself and Leon at this moment. Blushing, she nestled into Leon's embrace. The two dragon marks pressed tightly together, resonating with an even stronger intensity. Can't I just take a peaceful bath? Rosvitha said. No, I'm stressed, Leon replied. You. The absurd and strongly vengeful reasoning was enough for Rosvitha to conclude that Leon was deliberately messing with her. Little dragoness, Leon's voice was low. Little dragoness, is that what you're calling me? All right, Leon, I'll call you little dog. Now you're calling me little dragoness, huh? All right, just you wait. Wrap your tail around me, Leon commanded. Rosvitha was a bit bewildered. Wrap around where? My waist, you seem to like doing that, Leon said. I refuse. Hurry up or I'll do it myself. Rosvitha bit her lip, realizing she had no other choice but to comply. Carefully, she wrapped her tail around Leon's waist. However, as soon as she had wrapped her tail around him, Leon used the force of the binding to press her firmly against the wall, letting him take control. She wanted to loosen her tail, but it was too late. With her eyes closed, Rosvitha raised her hand and lightly hit Leon's back. You jerk, slow down. Slow down. Come on, I'm the strongest dragon slayer. Fast is the way to go. After the intense battle, Rosvitha changed into a new nightgown and stumbled out of the bathroom, making her way to the dining table. She thought, after the bath, shouldn't she be allowed to have a peaceful dinner? She sat down on the chair. On the table was a plate of exquisite fried rice. HMPH, you're just giving me this kind of. Rumble tilde. Her stomach signaled a retreat before she could even start complaining. Reluctantly, Rosvitha reached for a spoon, preparing to fill her stomach before anything else. But Leon beat her to it. What are you doing? Rosvitha asked. Leon scooped up a spoonful of rice and offered it to Rosvitha's lips. Tilde. I don't need you to feed me, Rosvitha said. Open your mouth or else you won't get to eat at all. Who do you think you're scaring? I won't eat if. Rumble tilde. Leon chuckled. Eat my queen. You haven't eaten anything in a day and a night. While dragons can go without food or drink during hibernation, you're fully aware of your hunger now. With no other option, Rosvitha glared at Leon while eating the rice he handed her. Surprisingly delicious. Leon smiled and scooped up another spoonful. Rosvitha instinctively opened her mouth, expecting to be fed. But to her surprise, Leon ate the second spoonful himself. As he reached for the third spoonful, he offered it to her once more. Are you asking me to eat from the same bowl as you? Rosvitha exclaimed. Yeah, is that a problem? It's so cheesy and disgusting. You eat it yourself, I'm not eating. Rumble Tilda. See, your stomach has betrayed you. Hurry up and eat. This is love fried rice, Leon teased. Rosvitha couldn't help but laugh in exasperation. Leon, you're really something. No, she had to endure. The humiliation now would be repaid doubly once she recovered. Rosvitha opened her mouth and reluctantly ate the fried rice. And just like that, they finished the bowl of fried rice together. Rosvitha wasn't satisfied. And Leon knew she wasn't satisfied. He wanted her to be unsatisfied. Because if she was full, she'd have the strength to resist, right? After they finished eating, Leon carried Rosvitha back to bed. Rosvitha, Leon said. Rosvitha rolled her eyes. Spit it out if you have something to say. You see, I helped you bathe, cooked for you, and even fed you. I'm so good to you, Leon said, smirking as he leaned closer. Shouldn't you do something for me now? Rosvitha grabbed Leon's ear. Listen, Casmode, every time you act like a jerk, it's a disgrace. I'll nail your body. Remember that. Leon grasped the delicate, boneless wrist of Rosvitha. My dear wife, you really know how to scare people. Not being obedient, huh? I'll have to punish you properly. Rosvitha, weary, closed her eyes. You better behave, don't make me lose respect for you. I'll definitely behave, Tilda. Leon leaned in again, resuming his role as the quick-witted son-in-law. Rosvitha regretted her stubbornness as soon as she spoke. From taking a bath just now to finishing dinner and getting into bed, was there even half an hour in between? Are you completely without cooldown? Before Rosvitha could finish regretting, Leon's assault had already arrived. She used up her last bit of strength to feel this wonderful agitation. Exhausted but engulfed in desire, unable to extricate herself. Another round of combat, and Leon completely emptied his reservoir. After it was all done, he lay down next to Rosvitha and fell into a deep sleep. Rosvitha really couldn't fall asleep, so she just leaned against the head of the bed, quietly resting. After about an hour or so, Rosvitha finally felt a little sleepy and decided to sleep. Suddenly, Leon opened his eyes and leaped out of bed like a carp. Rosvitha was startled. What are you doing? Oh, I'm going back to my room to sleep, just letting you know. Rosvitha covered her face. Then just go, why do you need to inform me? You are my beloved wife, of course, I have to inform you. Haha, you're really funny, Dragon Slayer. See you in the morning, my dear wife. Leon jumped off the bed and left Rosvitha's room. Rosvitha was almost asleep, but she was startled by this and lost all her sleepiness. She leaned against the head of the bed, unable to fall asleep for a long time. That darn Dragon Slayer, dealing with dragons, torturing dragons, he really has quite the knack for it. Can't take a proper bath, can't have a decent meal, and can't even sleep properly. Darn. The more Rosvitha thought about it, the angrier she became. She clenched her fist and slammed it against the wall behind her. Crack! The hard wall instantly developed cracks. Rosvitha was stunned, turning back to look in surprise. After a moment of astonishment, a smile appeared on her lips. Recovering so quickly, HMPH Leon, your good days are numbered. Vol 1CH, 65. The next day, Rosvitha slowly opened her eyes. Leon was not around, presumably off to keep Muin company. She could continue to rest quietly on her own. Sitting up, leaning against the headboard, she raised her hand and tried to gather some magical energy. Feeling the surge of magic, a faint smile appeared on Rosvitha's lips. Seems like I underestimated myself after all, didn't expect to recover so quickly. Perhaps it was related to the wild antics Leon put her through last night. As they say, it's always darkest before the dawn, especially evident in the body of a dragon king. Rosvitha closed her eyes slowly, regulating the magical energy within her body to accelerate her recovery. About half an hour later, Anna entered the room. Apologies for disturbing you, Your Majesty. Anna approached respectfully. I've come to check on Your Majesty's condition and see how you're recovering. Very well. Anna sat by the bedside, cradling Rosvitha's left hand in her palm, and in an instant, a shimmering green magical energy appeared. After a moment, Anna released Rosvitha's hand, unable to hide her joy. Your Majesty has basically recovered. With a bit more soup medicine, you'll be fully healed by tonight. For the body of a dragon king, such minor issues are just a formality with medicine. No need to make it so troublesome. Anna smiled. As your majesty says, I'll inform his highness and the princess of this good news. Wait a moment. Rosvitha's eyes flickered, and the unease in her stomach began to churn. Don't tell Leon for now. She avoided eye contact, her face turning red. I want him to take care of me for a few more days. If he runs into him, just tell him I need to lie down for another week. Anna was taken aback, then chuckled softly, covering her mouth. Say no more, your majesty, I understand. Rosvitha lowered her eyelids and nodded gently. You can attend to other matters. Very well, your majesty. Take care and drink plenty of water. After a respectful nod, Anna turned and left. Rosvitha continued to regulate her body. Meanwhile, in the courtyard, Leon was teaching Muin the basics of magic control. This morning, Muin suddenly came to him, saying she wanted to learn some simple magic. Leon told her she was too young, and it wasn't time for her to learn magic yet, but Muin said her sister had already gone to school. And she didn't want to be left behind, so she wanted to practice. Oh, the benefits of having 2 children, you don't need to urge them. They'll compete with each other and progress together. Hearing Muin's words, Leon didn't refuse anymore and began to teach her some simple magic operations. Although Muin's aptitude was not as good as Noah's, she made progress quickly. In just a few hours, she could already channel her magic power. They sat on a bench, sipping on the sports drink prepared by the maids. Oh, by the way, Dad, Muin slurped from her cup. What? Are the wounds on you and Mom still itchy? Leon was startled. Wounds. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Muin finished her sports drink and then looked up at Leon. Yeah, yesterday I saw you guys lying on the bed with the window open. I was worried you'd catch a cold, so I thought about covering you with a blanket. But when I covered you up, I found lots of little red dots on your bodies, just like the bites I used to get from bugs, very itchy. Little red dots. Could this kid be talking about strawberry marks? Leon silently turned his head away. It's okay, not so itchy anymore. Tilda Muin's reasoning was right after all. I immediately guessed they were bug bites. Her little tuft of hair on her head shook, and her tail behind her proudly wagged, and it was Muin who applied ointment for you. Leon felt a bit speechless, but also somewhat comforted. He patted his daughter's head. You did well, Muin, you did well. Muin smiled proudly, then hopped off the bench. Dad, let's continue practicing magic. All right. It wasn't until around 4 or 5 in the afternoon that Leon returned to the room. At dusk, golden sunlight poured in through the window, and a cool evening breeze rustled the curtains. The silver-haired beauty on the bed leaned against the headboard, eyes half closed, breathing evenly. Her complexion was still pale, and fatigue was evident in her features. Upon hearing footsteps, she slightly opened her eyes. Seeing it was Leon, she closed her eyes again. It seemed she had resigned herself to what was going to happen next. Leon pursed his lips, feeling somewhat hesitant. These past few days, he had tormented Rosvitha enough. He had already retaliated in full for what had happened. Not to mention, his own body couldn't withstand such repeated bombardment. As a mere human, his endurance was naturally no match for that of a dragon. Moreover, today during the day, he encountered Anna, who told him that Her Majesty's body would need at least another week to recover. So with 6 more days to go, Leon could afford to let this one night pass. Well, let her rest for now, let himself rest as well. With this in mind, Leon turned to leave. What, leaving? Leon halted his steps and turned to look at Rosvitha. HMPH can't handle it anymore, Dragon Slayer. Just 2 days and you're already backing off. I thought you were much more capable than this. Turns out, you're just like a child playing house, boring. For a moment, Leon even felt like he was experiencing some kind of illusion. Who was the one unable to get out of bed right now? Wasn't it her? Seeing Leon's lack of reaction, Rosvitha began to push further. I still want to witness the prowess of the Empire's strongest Dragon Slayer. In the end, it's just like playing pretend for children, dull. Leon frowned, his tone low. You stubborn dragon, you seem so tired yet you still want to be spared tonight. Looks like I was too considerate. Your mouth is so tough, your body must be tough as well, right? Rosvitha threw off the blanket, exposing her graceful figure to Leon. Come on, let me see what you're capable of. You'll regret this, Rosvitha. I've never regretted anything. Leon raised his hand, closed the bedroom door, and then locked it. Then he walked towards the large bed, beginning to remove his clothes one by one. Indeed, it wasn't necessary to indulge this mother dragon. He climbed onto the bed, looking at the beauty beneath him, and said coldly, "Captives should obediently keep their mouths shut, Your Majesty." Rosvitha looked at Leon with a smile, not responding. Leon reached out and pinched her chin, the dragon tattoo starting to flicker. But just as Leon was about to proceed to the next step, something slippery and cold seemed to wrap around his waist. Lowering his head, he saw that it was Rosvitha's tail. In the next moment, Leon suddenly realized what was happening. But it was too late. With a slight force from Rosvitha's tail, Leon was thrown onto the bed, and she gracefully flipped over, instantly taking control. You, Rosvitha. SHH tilde tilde. The Silver Dragon Queen tilted her head back, calmly brushing her long hair back behind her head, then slowly lowered her head, her gaze hazy and alluring, as she softly said, "Prisoners should obediently keep quiet, my dear, valiant dragon slayer tilde."